Steve and Marnie. The challenges of 2020 forced us to find other ways of resting and fighting for joy. Our new endeavor is to find and film the best gardens we can find in the U.S.
I have never personally liked gardening, and yet I have found some of my favorite moments in life have been sitting quietly in a garden with my wife. It's great for our relationship, and it's good for our sanity.
We would really appreciate you clicking on the YouTube subscribe button, and make sure to hit the bell to not miss any upcoming episodes.
Welcome to Weatherford, Texas. Well, actually, we are about 15 miles outside of Weatherford, Texas, to the west. We are at the Kew Gardens, and this is prime time iris blooming time, so I guess we're going to see a bunch of iris, and I can see a lot of poppies behind me.
It's an English garden, so I'm excited to see it.
That's one of your favorite styles, right? Is English gardens. So yesterday we were at the Shandor Gardens, and we're going to hopefully go back there today. Once again, that's probably Marnie's favorite garden that we've ever visited. So if you haven't seen that video, you're going to want to go back and watch Shandor Gardens. We've actually recorded there twice. So a couple years ago and then again yesterday.
I think my ideal garden is the garden that you want to sit in, have a tea party, have some friends, and just take in the atmosphere for a number of hours. So if we could do that at Shandor, I would love that.
And in Texas, maybe a prime rib or a ribeye steak. Okay, tea it is. Let's go check out Kew Gardens. just want to say thank you to Kitty and Dargie for that nice barrette that came from Warner Brothers Studios. I was just talking to Marnie a little bit about the stillness, quietness. There's such a hard time finding any place where it's quiet. There's a good example right now. There have been moments here where it's been quiet, which is nice. I think the most calm, quiet garden that I've remembered visiting so far is the Bach Tower Gardens in Florida. Now, of course, that's when the big instrument isn't ringing the bells, of course, but that's kind of nice too. We've had a few planes fly overhead and a little road noise, but some gardens we go to, it's a beautiful garden, but there's just so much road noise it's hard to enjoy. So gardens are much more than what you just see. It's the noise as well, or lack of. I would say from what I've seen of this garden so far that there's not a lot of variety of different plants, but it's the structure. There's a lot of structure that's would have taken a lot of labor to do. A lot of paths with formal stones around and rock walls, and there's a chapel here that I would say that maybe wedding venue. This is a wonderful wedding venue, both the chapel and of course the tent over there as well. And the noise, the helicopter going. If you know where to go to escape, I want this. If you know where you can go where there is no noise, let us know, because I would like to know. I think noise is an issue in our world, and it's nice when you're able to get to a place where it's just quiet. It's hard to find places where it's just quiet. Even when you're in a place where it's quiet, you have a struggle with being quiet, to be still.
Yeah, I think the best experience in a garden is not just the visual. We were talking about how Dallas, has all this money and all this structure and draws in a lot of people, and there's some stunningly beautiful areas and structures, but it's not calming. It's not as enjoyable as it could be.
Well, at least when we were there were so many people, right?
I would think generally, but what I want is to have quiet space, contemplative space where you can breathe in the perfumes, where you can hear the trees blowing in the wind, you can, hear the birds song and take in the sunshine. There are definitely some places here where you go, where you can sit and kind of take it in. There's a lot of water noise here, which is lovely.
Yeah, that's a lot of fountains.
I would think too, being in Texas in the heat of summer when it's pretty miserable for most people to be anywhere, that this would be an oasis, because a lot of what's here is expansive woodland garden with native plants and trails, and you'd be in the shade and you'd be able to go and sit by the water.
Yeah.
And so I would think that's probably a lot of what draws people to this one.
I think so. That would be nice, yeah. And yes, the wedding venues, it'd be a beautiful place to hold a wedding. Not knocking the place. I wouldn't travel to Texas to come to this garden, but if you were somewhere around here, I think it's a wonderful place to come to if you want a little bit of an escape and to get away from the busyness. It'd be marvelous.
And we haven't seen him, but it sounds like Mr. Clark is here working in the garden. Apparently he's 93,
90 some years old, still working the garden.
I think that's really neat. So, his hand is all over this place, and to find the joy. I was just reading again how the people there's been a study done on some of the people that live the longest around the world, and there's a lot of things in common with them, including eating locally, working the land, and living simple lifestyles. I think that's a lot of, you know, what brings joy and fullness to life.
As we've seen, to plant a garden is to hope for tomorrow.
And to plant a tree is to do it to bless the next generation. And there's a lot of trees here. There's been a lot of thought and a lot of preparation that is really neat, that I'm sure Mr. Clark gets to see kind of over the decades how it's transformed.
To plant a watermelon is to plant a picnic.
Maybe for the ants.
I'm a little bit of a kid at heart. I still really enjoy the train sets. These are, I believe it's a G scale train out here in the garden, a garden scale train. They've got quite an extensive setup here. It's pretty nice. One of my favorites is the Franklin Park Conservatory in Columbus, Ohio. That's also a very, very nice setup. I enjoyed that. In fact, that was one of the gardens that Marnie and I thought was probably the most kid-friendly garden that we visited, was the Franklin Park Conservatory. Well, thanks for watching Garden Steal Away from Clark Gardens. There's just one thing that we need to do yet today, and that is to go back to Shandor Gardens to see if they've got the big fountain ready for us to go see. It's pretty elaborate and incredible to see, so hang on, we'll touch base with that for just a moment. And then if you want to see the full-length video of Shandor Gardens, you can follow the link in the description. Well, we've stopped by, and they did get it cleaned out, but they don't have water in it yet now, and so we don't have the fountain actually running here.
You know what? I guess we're going to have to just come back. Bummer.
Life is full of disappointment, big and sometimes even bigger. So, what's it going to be?